Alright, hello, welcome. I'm doing much better than I was last week. I was on not very much sleep and in some pain, and it's amazing I got any of this done. So, we're in a level about helpful people with swords, and I'm basically stuck on 3 rooms in this level. This one I can solve, but I need to be able to go south. So just solving it isn't good enough. So let's remember how this works. The core problem here is that I need to block all 4 Omtlich at some point in the cycle of swords. So 2 of them are really easy. Like... right there. That one is blocked. Easy. Then we can block this one. But that one has to be blocked in the turn instantly after the other one is blocked. Not just that, it has to be blocked for 2 consecutive turns. The only way you're getting through here is if that north middle Omtlich there is blocked for 2 consecutive turns. So that's possible if you... you arrange things with these guys just right. Yeah, so it's completely possible to just have a soldier stay facing north or south. Not easy, but completely possible. You have to do this in just the right way. There we go. So yeah, you can do basically that, and the problem is that this is not enough. I don't know, maybe I just overthought it? And it's possible to have this one face south eternally? Maybe. Isn't that all I have to do? I think that's all I have to do. I guess I really was just off, just not doing too well last week. This is not that hard. I mean, I was trying to do something basically like this, but I think I was convinced that some part of it wasn't working. Oh, whoops. Oh, no, that's right. Okay, never mind. I remember what the problem is. The problem is, it's not good enough to just block them. I have to unblock them after blocking them so they can destroy those orbs. So yeah, actually solving the room is relatively easy, but this is not good enough. Because somehow they have to block Like, fundamentally, the part that seems impossible is this one has to stop for 2 turns consecutively, and then has to be free after that. Which is impossible. There's no way for that to happen. Because if it's being stopped for 1 turn by a sword, you know, you can change the timing of these swords by doing things, but... So, like, you could do this to change the timing. But even if the 2 that are to the west of this Amtlich are both facing south in 2 consecutive turns, that doesn't matter. Yeah, I have to do that because I need to reach the secret at some point. And I remember I looked at the thread for this room, and that didn't help either. Yeah, but the problem is that if he's in this position, then where he is the turn immediately afterwards is like that. It is impossible for the Amtlich's beam to be blocked the turn after it's being blocked. Like, that's not possible. If I do it with the east one and then try to do it with the west one afterward, then... Oh, sorry. Yeah, so if you do it with the east one and then try to block it with the west one after, then it hits a diagonal sword and it doesn't work. And if you try to do it with the west one first, if the west one is south and the east one is about to be south, then the east one is southeast, so it isn't blocking the Amtlich. And so there's nothing you can do. Neither option works. You would have to somehow make it where a stalwart is stuck in place for a long period of, a soldier. A soldier would have to be stuck in place for a long period and then somehow released while D-throw is all the way down here. It has to be one of the north guys. I think the closest I came to a possible solution was perhaps you could make this Amtlich here face west to rotate this guy. So fix this guy so that he's facing south. So fix this one so that it's facing south. And then somehow manage to attract that Amtlich to face that guy. Which I guess requires getting rid of all of this. There's no other way that's working. But then you have to make sure this Amtlich doesn't face him until you're ready for it to. Maybe this is why this is here. I remember last week I was questioning the presence of a tile of floor here that doesn't seem to do anything. But I guess if the goal is to keep that Amtlich busy, that would be a purpose that it has. And now after this, I need it to face west and turn him around. Okay, that must be it. So, I was semi-close to thinking of doing this before, but I didn't quite manage to achieve it. That's great. Okay. This is looking good for the other rooms I was stuck on. If this was the really hard one, I managed to do it. Alright. Okay, here's a secret room, which thankfully doesn't seem to be a puzzle, it's just come to it. Is that you, Wenceslas? I almost didn't recognize you in your uniform. Mr. Budkin, sir, how is the battle going? We're making headway, and you? What are you doing out here? Well, I came across this abandoned library, so I thought I should hold it in case we need to retreat here or anything. Sure, I mean, this wing is mostly collapsed. I don't think there's likely to be much fighting here. Well, yes, to be honest, Mr. Budkin, I wanted to get away from the fighting. I want to be useful and do my bit, but it's all a bit much sometimes. I told you, didn't I, how I saw my brother die in battle? Yeah, I remember. It's okay, you keep patrolling this library. I'll see how everyone else is getting on. Thank you, Mr. Budkin, sir. It's been too long since I started this hold, to where I don't quite remember Wenceslas all that well. Oh well. I guess he can read, though. That's fine. Reaching him is all I wanted to do. Okay. So I guess I'll... not do that. I guess I'll trek back over this way to come towards this place I was stuck. Broken walls, just walk through. Okay. Yeah, this one. So, what's the problem here? The problem is that you're not allowed to stab that until Beethro has gone all the way through this passage. So somehow there has to be a soldier that is really far away from this, but still able to reach it. The real issue, though, is that this is an absolute requirement of sacrifice. These 3 water skippers all lined up next to each other like this make it absolutely required that a soldier is used up to kill them. And you can get these 2 with the help of a soldier. You can get these 2 from a corner for free. You could get these 2 from the north corner for free, if you could go through this door. The only way I can think of to get this much room to move, to get this much time, is if somehow a soldier is down in the south area, wants to go, like, this way, then somehow, like, kills one of these, walks off of this, and it opens the door, and they decide that it's a shorter path to go up around, and then it closes the door, and then, like, somehow they're broken out of that loop at some point later. I just don't think it's possible to really arrange that. That's the easiest, like, that's the most reasonable way I can think of to actually delay a soldier for that long. You have access to 3 mirrors, which, at a first glance, it seems like you need to maybe block this passage with 3 mirrors, so that that guy can't go here until you're done with these 2. So if I do this, then I can kill the water skipper, and be able to come up here and kill those two. Do I want to do that? I don't know. It doesn't seem like I do. Because now there's absolutely nothing left in the room that can let me delay that soldier indefinitely, or for any period of time, really. If I open the passage for him, he'll just go instantly for the one water skipper that's left. If I don't open the passage, then I can't get out of the area the token is in. And if I do open the passage, then that's not nearly enough delay. So I'm fairly sure that this is an unwinnable state, that there is nothing I can do from this point that would ever make this room solvable. I'm supposed to keep some skipper somewhere alive, in some way that makes it so that it delays him longer, but I don't see where or how I can do that. I'm just explaining my thought process for now. Let me think through this a little more. Like, I could have this guy go kill the two to the north, which would give me access past the... access to where the other guy is without, Yeah, the only problem is that trying to do this, if you don't use him up, then you wind up with him being too close to the skipper you don't want him to kill. And there's not really any way to bring it back to where the mirrors are. Yeah, I think I tried this several times before. The problem is, if he's racing for those two, and you try to open the way with the mirror, he'll stop going after those two, and there's no way to... either that or you're too far behind him to catch up and help him not die to him. So I don't believe it's possible to have that guy kill these two. Doesn't seem like it can happen. Because if he kills those two, then either he runs straight for that, or he dies in the process. I could do this, but then he'll just die the way the other one did. So that doesn't help. I could try to block this off so that those two are more attractive and he attacks them from the corner. I don't think that'll ever work. I guess I could stand here and force him to go the wrong way, but then he'll just die to them. Like this, he goes after them, which is great, but then he's way too close. And there's no way to delay him from here. There aren't enough mirrors to block him off or anything. I can verify that there is no way whatsoever to release the other soldier first. Because going north requires killing these three, which is impossible without help. Going west requires killing these two, which is impossible from this direction without help. So, you can't release the north one first. The south one has to come first. Doesn't seem to me like there's any other first step besides doing that. You're basically stuck doing exactly that. I mean, the only variation I could make is not killing these two, which would be completely pointless. If I don't kill those two and I just go north, then that means I have to have this guy kill those two. And that doesn't really help. I guess I can try that, but I don't think that helps. I could have this guy go kill those two by blocking the way to this one. That doesn't really help, because after doing that, he's just going to race straight after the main one. There's not really anything I can do. To keep him from just going straight there. I could stand here to force him to target a different one. I don't think this helps him. Especially not if I can't catch up to him. I don't think this helps. No, he'll just kill it before anything useful can happen at all. This does not seem to be a very useful thing to try to do. I need to somehow teleport mirrors into place to block his way for him to not do exactly that. Great. I can make him stand right there, which isn't helpful. Now I can't remember how I got this to work before, even though I don't think this does anything useful. Maybe pushing the mirror out. There's just no way to keep him from closing the door in my way. Not that this would help anyway. Because somehow I have to have a path for him to get there that's really long. But there's no way to make the path any longer than this. He either has a path or he doesn't. And if he has a path, then it's too short. If he doesn't have a path, then it's useless because I can't actually leave the place with the token unless he has a path. This path is excessively long. The only way that I could ever have this much time is if he's somehow stuck in an almost loop, but not quite loop. Like some kind of thing where he's constantly going on and off the plate, and then somehow magically stops doing that, and goes straight to the skipper afterward. I don't completely remember this one, but it was very easy, I think. Yeah, this one's really easy because, one, you don't have a ridiculously long path you have to bring Beethro to, and two, you're just directly given a skipper that's a nice long way away from the one that you have to hit last. Neither of which is true for the Northman. before me. Like whether or not I kill the South Skippers here. Who I kill them with, I guess, I mean. These two. That's basically the only difference. But so getting rid of these two is supposed to be helpful. Not too soon. I don't see how this could ever possibly be better. Here there is absolutely nothing left in the room that could make this guy go any direction other than straight for the bad skipper that I don't want him to hit too soon. The only way to keep him from going all the way over there, from going straight there, is just to have these blocking the way. And doing that doesn't delay him anywhere near enough. And I guess I can block the way partially. It doesn't really help either. Like I could do this and force him to go south, and then what? This doesn't really help. This is not nearly enough time. Of course, if I completely block this way, he'll never go either. I don't really have enough control over what the soldier does to guarantee that he'll block. That he'll push a mirror in a way that makes him block himself. He almost surely won't do that. Like 90% of the time, there's no way to make him do that. Or it's not that there's no way, it's just that there's no way I can predictably force him to do that. So the only way, like if what I'm supposed to do is make him push a mirror into his own path, I don't have enough control over him to guarantee that that happens. Without doing just a lot of trial and error until he just decides to do the right thing. There's an awful lot of things to trial and error my way through if that's what I'm supposed to do. Well, that doesn't work either. That just means he completely blocks himself. So that doesn't work. I mean, if this token activated a fire trap or something, or opened a door to make it where he could go where he needs to go, then that would be fine, but it doesn't. I mean, if I'm supposed to be in a situation where when I open the way for this guy there's only this one skipper left, if that's really the situation I'm supposed to be in, then the only conceivable thing that could block him is mirrors. And the only way that mirrors could usefully block him for a long period of time is if he pushes one of them. So I don't see how it could be anything other than trial and error to try and make him push them the right way. But never mind that, because if he pushes a mirror so that it's in his way and he wants to go north, he'll just stop directly on this plate and not do anything. So that can't be what I'm supposed to do then, because that doesn't work. But I can't really see anything else that could work. Not if this is the only tools that I have. I mean, I can make his path marginally longer by placing the mirrors in the right way, but that doesn't seem very helpful. And if I'm not using 3 mirrors to block this path, then I have to wait around quite a while before I can even start going that way. Not sure what you mean. Maybe that's in response to some delay. I'm certainly not keeping him from going straight west without one mirror on the north side. That's probably not useful. Makes him go around a little further. Doesn't really seem very good. Doesn't seem like enough. That doesn't really seem like enough. That doesn't achieve anything. I mean, if I take a small step back, it feels very unlikely that I'm supposed to make him do an extremely specific set of movement, because it's very well known that soldier movement is not that controllable in the first place. So that would be a pretty unreasonable thing for a level that's supposed to teach how stalwarts and soldiers work to demand. But well, they're not useful if they're not down there. The only other place they could be useful is here, completely blocking the way. And It's been very well established that that is not good enough. That's maybe 10 turns too few. Too fast. Like, there's nowhere else that they could conceivably be useful. Either completely blocking here or blocking his path southward are the only two things the mirror could do. And I know that. They don't need to completely block the way to the west because I can block the way west. I don't know. I've tried having him push them in the way. The problem is if he's going through this passage and pushes a mirror to be in his way, then he'll just go here and get stuck. So that's not useful either. Let me answer. What am I trying to do? This does that. So I need this guy to kill that. And then he needs to do it after a very long delay. Well, if I can't block the way, then the mirrors all have to be here blocking the way. There's nothing else that I can do. Either all three mirrors are being used blocking the way, or I'm blocking the way myself. There's nothing else that can block the way due west. Besides either me or all three mirrors. I don't know what you mean. I could try to make him push a mirror into this that makes it block the way, but that's not going to give enough turns. Given that even doing this, I'm like 10 turns behind. Getting an extra maybe 2 to 3 turns from him going west, that's not going to be enough. And I don't even really know how to make him do that. Like 90% of the time, unless I get really lucky with how I place them. Not real luck, but like lucky guess kind of luck. He's just not even going to interact with the mirrors at all. Oh good, he shattered it. That doesn't help. That still relies on me being able to guess how to place them so that he will push one into his own way, which is not really a thing that you can guarantee you can know how to do, given the general unpredictability of soldier and stalwart movement. Is that it? He faces that way to force him to go directly west instead of doing something else. Okay. I mean, that does control it, but that's not really something that anyone who hasn't already solved the game would realize that's there for them. I don't know. Okay. I mean, maybe it should have stuck out more that he's facing a weird direction, but there's lots of cases where things that feel nice and symmetric are violated just for aesthetic reasons, so I couldn't really have banked on that. anyway, it's done at least. That means that what's left is over to the east. There is a completely incomprehensible secret room here, which I know has something to do with move order. But let's go on over here. What was this? Oh yeah. So... the only way to do this room is to have a guy come in facing that way exactly, or to have a guy come in on the hot tiles anyway, walk up them without moving his sword, and then stop off here and face northeast. Northwest? Probably. Due west? I don't know. That relies on some black magic at that point. So there's a bunch of powder kegs. I think they're supposed to be obstacles for something. Yeah, okay. So the problem is... I need him to make the whole path to the pressure plate, and then suddenly decide that it's time to face northeast. So, like, starting this room is simple. You just need there to be a tar baby somewhere. And then you need to face this way while letting him in. Is it this way? No, I can swear it was this the other way. I guess the position of the tar baby is extremely specific too. So let's try that. I was able to get I was able to get him to reach the plate, but I was not able to get him to hit the orb. That's what I remember. As I remember, this seating beacon's placement is kind of annoying. I'm also not sure why you would ever want to use the seating beacon anyway, given that the only thing in this room that responds to whether the room is clear or not is the door over to the east, which you would want to be open, presumably. Yeah, so we want to do that, except somehow he has to decide to turn east once he gets here. And I don't see any way to do that. I mean, I could place a second tar baby somewhere, but I don't think he's gonna change on targets. I can think of no reason why he would bother to change targets once he gets here. Oh, well, he does randomly decide to not move when he gets here. Why? Oh, he does change target. Why does he change target? Wait. What? Okay, I guess that is... easier way. Oh, is this a secret passage thing? I don't see how it would ever be possible to keep him on that plate. He's always going to move north after being on this plate, no matter what. It isn't possible to prevent that. Apparently, it isn't possible to make him turn his sword on this plate either. He's targeting something where he should want to turn east, but he's not turning. Not until he gets all the way up here and dies. This is a pretty mean room to put as a choke point before more rooms. I mean, sure, but that means that you have to have him face northwest when you start the room. Just have one here. Same thing. I mean, I have no choice but to start him facing northwest and to have a free path northwest. Because he has to go north and he has to go west. He has to do all of that without turning. And then apparently he won't turn until he gets all the way up here. And there's not really anything I can do to influence his behavior before he gets there. Like, if he makes it this far, then he has to be facing northwest, and he has to walk the entire path to this point. And somehow I'm supposed to want him to turn when he gets here. There's not really anything I have enough influence over to make that happen. I don't really know why he's trying to turn here in the first place. Not really. I guess it's something like he wants to turn the way he's moving, I guess. like I said, this is a really mean room to put in the way of playing any more rooms. Especially with it having a secret access that you have to do a harder version to get to. Like, does every single room after this require intimate knowledge of this moving, turning business? The way this one does? Apparently does, anyway. Why did we stop here? Yeah, I guess the only way... To my understanding, the only way that he will not try to turn before reaching the end of the hot tiles is if he's facing northwest. But if he's facing northwest, then at some point he'll try to turn. I don't really know how to control when he'll try to turn. Like, what's going on here? Is the tar baby moving too much? It sure doesn't feel right. I mean, I believe you, it just doesn't feel right. Try to turn and go with that, but it's... this without making it unreachable. That's probably not how. Blowing myself up definitely isn't how. If I put it there, then he's just not gonna move. Yeah, that position is no good. If I do something like this, then it's just going to move as soon as I let a guy into place. As soon as he's closer to the baby than I am, it's gonna move around. That's no good. I guess I could try to block more directions of it. If it's here, and if it wants to chase him, it wants to go southwest. So I should block southeast, surely. There. Then it shouldn't move. But yeah, it's still a problem. He isn't going to be willing to do anything if that way is blocked, though. Like, if the only way to reach the tar baby is by facing this way, he isn't going to want to face any other way. there's no way to keep it in place other than blocking it like this. And presumably, this even working in the first place relies on keeping it in place. Why did he die here? I guess he's trying to face east. I mean, I can't tell what he's really trying to do because he dies, but that's the only really reasonable guess I have, is that he's too far, like not far enough south, so he's trying to face east. So that's too far to the east. I guess Goldilocks is facing north in this case. Or trying to face north anyway. What's he doing here? Is it getting too far to the east? I only pushed it one tile eastward though. Then if I push it back the other way, he dies trying to face north. Or something. Annoying. I wish this was a brain or something that doesn't move instead of moving really fiddly to get into position or keep in position. That would make this a lot less irritating to deal with and try to figure out. Okay, now he's trying to face north, I guess. So, if it's here, he tries to face north when he gets there. And if it's a single tile east of here, then he tries to face east when he gets over here somewhere. So neither of these, this doesn't, this idea overall can't work, apparently. Because if no position is perfect, then I guess there's no pleasing Goldilocks. sense. I don't know. I can try to make the baby move around, but that's going to cause other problems. I don't really have much wall to work with if I'm trying to build a cage for the tar baby. Like, I basically have enough exactly to completely enclose it. If I try to make it go west in response to the soldier or something, it's gonna go south. And it'll slip right out of the cage if I try to let it go south. If I try to make enough space for it to move around, and that's enough space for it to go south and leave. Try to use the wall, but I don't think this will work either. Well, the main reason I don't want it to leave is because it winds up due north of the soldier. If it does leave. Which is the main thing we're trying to prevent here. Like that. Like, there's just not enough wall to have it both ways. Either the tar baby stays in place and the soldier dies because he's way too picky, or the tar baby moves into a position where the soldier decides that he wants to face the wrong way and he dies. Like, if I had enough wall to make some kind of convoluted maze that would make it so that the tar baby goes back and forth or something, it would be different. Like, I don't really have enough material for anything other than keeping it perfectly in place or keeping it roughly in place. I don't have enough material to control it so that it's in place part of the time and then it moves out of place or something. I really don't know how a simpler setup would help. Actually, I don't know what's simpler than just a cage that keeps it in place in the first place. Like, that's the simplest thing, is make it stay completely still. anything that has a mobile car baby is inherently more complicated than that. Maybe, but the things are still dying so far. It's too late. What's happening here? Guess I can use less of these. Oh, those two did that was an accident. This does not achieve enough, though. I still have to somehow keep it moving once it gets there. I guess I need to arrange things that this path would hit a keg, but the other paths wouldn't. Something. does not seem like there's enough of them to... I mean, even if I completely blocked his path and he was going to run into a keg, he'd still... Again, he wouldn't move at the start. This creates other problems, but we'll just experiment on this. Yeah, he won't move if things are like this. I've done something like this before under easier conditions. You need to somehow have there be a path, and then later, after he's done his job here, there needs to not be a path anymore. Somewhere the mud baby goes has to be a place where you won't have a path to, even though he has a path to it before the mud baby starts moving. the reason I reset the room earlier is because I had a guess that maybe somehow the presence of the pile of tar as an obstacle would be meaningful at some point. Although I'm not entirely sure how to make it meaningful. Here he's going to loop all the way around. And steal one more to keep anything like that. Maybe. Now he just has no path, so that won't do it. Well, it's doing it too soon. Actually, no. What is changing about his path here? Oh, it's actually... okay. I need 3 of them. So I can't get away with 2. I need 3 for the initial part. It seems like I need something. I tried all sorts of things with just a set of pegs and it didn't achieve much. Given that 3 entire kegs are tied up just on the initial part, and I only have 5 to work with, well, anything else I can get is useful. The baby's not reaching the checkpoint, though. That's the whole point of this setup, is that it stops there. Then there should be some kind of obstacle there. I don't know. Well, I don't see any way to make them useful. With only 5 obstacles like this. I feel like if you know exactly what the configuration is, then it's really obvious, but otherwise it's basically impossible to guess. Or rather, impossible to know without guessing. Oh, okay. Yes, that's that. And also... Okay then. That's annoying. I have to make sure it dies without moving. Alright then. Well, I kinda have to do this room. I have to do it at some point, so... What is going on here? So this means they're not allowed to move until I get here. Okay. Somehow closing this door is meant to achieve something. I don't know what. This is opened on the way in. I already don't like how much of a blank canvas this looks like. So only the soldier can go through the shallows. The stalwart needs to have a path up this way at some point. Right away, I don't understand how closing this door is supposed to give the stalwart a path. Closing doors generally doesn't cause things to have paths, it causes things to not have paths. I mean, if it's not that, then I'm supposed to stand around here until something happens and then close this door. In which case, I'm supposed to open that door and then they're both supposed to not move for some reason. Then I'm supposed to close that door after they move. Like, I open this, they don't move, I stand here, they move, I go here, that does something. I can predict that if I just give each of them a path to the end, then I'll just be stuck in the South Passage. But I don't really understand what I'm supposed to achieve anyway. So if I just leave them be, get off the plate too soon. They do kill everything like they're supposed to. What I was wondering about is this. If possibly the soldier might go the wrong way. So like if I don't open the way for the stalwarts. Okay. So one probably meaningless concern that I had was that if the soldier was going too fast, that he might cut off the stalwart and go kill this, and then no one would kill that. It doesn't seem like that's a problem that we have. I think because the path from this door to that eye is always shorter than the path from this door to that eye. So since the soldier can get to this eye, it'll always want to go there first. So I don't think I need to worry about that. The main problem is, how do I keep these two from moving in a way that they'll then move later? I don't really see any way to do that. There's nothing in this room that can keep them from moving. I can't get in the way, there's no explosives to get in the way. They're certainly not going to get in each other's way. And closing a door isn't going to cause things to move that weren't previously moving. Not in general, anyway. So in what circumstances would these two both have paths that put their swords on each other, and exclusively have paths that put swords on each other? So, maybe this. If this is a way where the soldier wants to take a path that would hit the stalwart. Although I'm really doubtful about that. Then, if that were the case, then you want there to be some kind of excessively long path that the soldier can also take. The door closes. I suppose. This top part sure seems like it's supposed to be an excessively long sort of thing. I could also push... I don't think it's relevant, but you could push the soldier or stalwart north onto the other part of the blade. I don't know, maybe that's relevant since everything could be, but it seems like something that shouldn't be. Why do they move under this circumstance? They should be worried about stabbing each other, but they're not, and I don't really know why. Set that part up right. Should at least want to take this path. So, if the stalwart is not in the way, then what should happen is that it will just go through that path. And it does. Stalwarts move to here. It shouldn't move. And it doesn't. Okay. Should also be that if I give the stalwart a path that goes through the soldier, then neither of them should move. But they move anyway. Why do they move anyway? Path does the stalwart see? It lets him do that. I really wish I could see the stalwart's path right before this turn, right in between the pressing the plates and moving. Before anyone moves, what path is this stalwart seeing? Because it could only be that it's going through here and about to stab this. Maybe that is so, but okay, but the soldier is moving because it has an open path. Alright. I may look up H&S for this road, because it's apparently stupidly hard. I mean, I have some idea of how it functions, but it still might be a bit much. This is just excessive. This is the kind of puzzle that turns people off of puzzle games, where you can understand precisely what it is you're trying to do conceptually, but that's not enough. Where you make tiny tweaks one way or the other, and no matter which way you make the tiniest little tweak, it always breaks it in one direction or the other. Like, this is just too much. This is too much. I can barely imagine someone enjoying doing this. Like, you either have a precise description of what it is you're trying to do, and I mean an exact screenshot apparently of the room, and you just do it, or even with an actual walkthrough, like I'm looking at Clock's solution right now in front of me, and even that is not good enough to be perfect enough for this room. That's just terrible. That is really not fun. Like, I'm matching this precisely, and that isn't good enough. I'm doing precisely the exact thing that gave a solution to Clock, apparently, and that isn't somehow not good enough. Because some single tile of what I have carved out is different from what Clock did. That's not good enough. I don't think so. My understanding is that that wiggly line there is just representing going up around this route. I mean, the post Clock made this screenshot with doesn't really clarify that, but it seems like it has to be the case. Paths would be too short without them. Or at least without part of them. I was trying to tweak things a little bit earlier, but how do I understand this intent? It seems to be this. Oh, it doesn't look like that. It looks like this. I have to have enough room for the other one too. definitely goes up before going down. This has got to be like this. It's the only reasonable way to interpret that part. So I'm blatantly following a walkthrough, and despite trying numerous times to copy exactly what Clock's walkthrough does, I still haven't gotten it to work. I've gotten it in situations where I can literally make one change, and that's the difference between the stalwart deciding to always go north and to always go south. And apparently there's no way to get an answer that's in between the two, which is what I actually need. This is probably identical to something I did before. Let's just check. I might if this doesn't work, but let's try again. Yeah, so the stalwart goes south. That means that this path is too short and this path is too long. So I have to shorten the path northward if the stalwart goes south. So I can do that by shortening this a little bit. So I've made precisely one tile's worth of change. Just look what happens once I get there. Still goes south. So let me make exactly one more tile's worth of change. Like that. Still going south. One more tile's worth of change. Still goes south. Okay. Make this path as short as it can possibly be. That section of path. Still goes south. So altering that path is not good enough. Okay, so instead, since apparently that path is too long, we'll try shortening this thing. If I shorten this thing this much, then he'll go north, and he'll keep going north. If I shorten it this much, then he goes south and keeps going south. If I do this, always north. Literally one change, one tile's worth of difference between him always going south and always going north. This is way too fiddly. This is excessive. Like, the idea behind this room is a cool idea, but it needed to be something where where the amount of change, like the granularity of change to the path that the player has access to is like larger than this. Like, it needs to be that the things you can change should be like a set of... Yeah, I'd like a screenshot, probably. Like, the ideal way to make a room like this work is that what a player can change would be a set of doors. Like, you have a little control room where you can press orbs and toggle various doors. And, like... Because when the smallest amount of change that I can make pushes it over the edge, that's a problem. Like, the smallest change that I can make is hitting one single broken wall. And that makes him go either too far in one direction or too far in the other. It's like the balancing act gets to be too fiddly. I don't know. It's just a bit much. It just feels like a bit much. Yeah. I mean, it's at least a positive indication that there's more than one precise room setup that works. Maybe there's more breathing room in some particular room setup than there is for clock solution. It's possible. Yeah, there we go. I know some parts are necessary. I know that I will always surely continue this. I expect to do this and this. Something very fundamental is different about the room, about the solution, if I don't need to at least do that. The trickiest part, I guess it doesn't help that the trickiest part of the room is these large blocks of broken walls right above the stalwart and soldier. And, well, it's possible to go into the rest of the room without interacting with those. But by doing that, you break a lot of solutions. I really could have used a tunnel or something that would let me go, like okay. If I break this, and I want to have a path go through this room, then there's going to be another path going through this way, because I had to enter the area somehow. So it's like, the hardest part to figure out, basically, is also a part that you have to do first. You have to do one of these two first in most solutions, I think. So unless you already know exactly what to do in these parts, you're going to have trouble. All I really needed to do was come up with a good path through the rest of the room, and then, like, do these two last, and then tweak them. That would at least be a little bit more, like, organizable. That would be an order that would be kind of more manageable. Because otherwise, like, even, at least if I'm trying to follow clock solution, what I wind up doing is I have to carve out one of these two kind of extreme parts, and then I have to go fix everything else, and if I messed up the very first thing I did, then I have to start entirely over again, including doing a lot of slightly fiddly walking around. I feel like the idea behind this puzzle would really benefit from more of a control room setup where instead of walking around through it myself, I could just press orbs to do things or something. I don't know. And, I mean, maybe someone enjoyed this enough. This has to be a fun room to build, right? the idea, at least. You have the idea for this. If you built the room, like, from the ground up, and you were able to just set up the walls all yourself, and say that's what the solution should look like, I could see that being what someone saw, like, in creating the room. I could very well be guilty of doing something like that with a much less hard room, probably, but finding a specific solution that works and that I think looks cool and giving a lot of freedom and figuring there must be more solutions out there. I think I did something like that in a room that everybody hates to throw. Not anything to do with broken walls, but that room with the adder and the spiders. I do appreciate it. Thank you. Let's see. Okay, so there's a meaningful difference, which once I replicate this, it'll be obvious what it is. But yeah, we had to have the part that I started off with, for sure. Let's do this. This part. This. To be fair, it is a secret room, and wanting to get all the secret rooms, and especially not wanting to come back to a secret room later, is something very self-imposed on my part. I think I've got it. I think that's a copy of what I see in this shot. Let's see. I can't take any credit for this. I tried, I thought I understood what I was trying to do. Okay, it looks like I messed something up, though. Let me see what I could have done wrong. Well, the screenshot has this broken and doesn't go through here, but I don't think that matters, because the point is of this room not being part of the path. It completely blocks off both of these. It doesn't break any part of the right side. Does leave these open. Oh, it opens this side too. Okay. That's what I missed. Does that. Okay. No? No. Something else is wrong. This path is apparently too short, or the other path is too long. Still. Oh, there's yet another change done to that area. I keep missing these things. This here. I mean, I was trying to do something like that to Clock's solution, Okay, this time the northwest area is exactly the same. Oh, there is a difference here, which is, I guess, more meaningful than it looks. Okay. Maybe that's what I have to do. So this solution does something a little different, which doesn't seem like it should work, but I'm not going to question it. I guess I should actually start off this way if I'm going to do that. Yeah, so, well, my assumption is that we want this wall broken because that puts the soldier in the stalwart's path. Phoba's solution does this, which doesn't put him in his path? I mean, I guess it does, but differently. Maybe that's what Clock's solution does that mine didn't too. It's entirely possible. Maybe I was getting the shape right, but not the very beginning. I'm not going to go back and check, but it's entirely possible that that's what was wrong. No, I don't need to do that now. Okay, so I'm supposed to, on this side, break that way. Break those. Identical now? I think it might be. Let's give that a try. There. Okay. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. So, most likely, Clock solution that I had mostly carved out was actually fine, but I didn't think about the whole idea here is that when they're north, the stalwart should want to go this way because of not wanting to stab him here. And when they're south, the soldier should want to go this way, but not because of stabbing him. So it should be they alternate between stabbing each other, not they're both trying to stab each other at the same time, I think. Alright. I'm taking no credit for this. This was 100% cheated, I'd have looked up. But I'm just relieved to that not in front of it anymore. I'm more worried about that. Worried is the wrong word, but I was more concerned with doing that now instead of in later cleanup just because it required doing another room to get to it. Although following this room's demo probably wouldn't have been that hard. Probably wouldn't have been that hard. Okay. Here we've got ore mines, I guess. Why did... Oh, trapdoor. Got it. Mr. Budkinson, the eye won't come to me. Huh, that's right. I remember now. The scrolls in that testing facility said something about this. The brain can only handle a single target. It must be specifically targeting me. I'll have to find a way to confuse the brain somehow. Okay. Well, he says confuse brain, but I know what he means. Let's just first... do a little more breathing. That's not enough turns to do that. So if Pico speaks while under the influence of a speed potion, did the guard hear him saying his words twice as fast? Maybe. I wonder if it comes from pitch shift. I mean, it probably does, since things like when you're frozen by an glitch or whatever, some of those sounds get pitch shifted. That should do it. No. That should do it. I guess you can't kill that one. I think the idea is that this mirror was not accessible to me before. Something like that. Right, so this gives me access to another mirror, which is kind of just a replacement for this one, because this one is stuck here. So an added complication here is I kind of need him to have time to turn around. Actually, if I only have 3 mirrors, is there any way to block this off? I don't really see one. It seems like I need at least 5. There's not 5 mirrors in the room in the first place. there's places I could put 4 of them, but I don't have 4, I only have 3. I could put them here and there and there and there, that would be good enough, but I can't get this one back. Maybe I needed to not use that one in that way. I don't see any other way to make just 3 mirrors useful, though. I don't think there's any way to do that. I have to use this mirror this way. But then there's no way that I can use only 3 mirrors to get the next eye. As far as I can tell. Yeah, there's just not enough mirrors. I need a 4th one to put here, but there's only 3. I don't think I'm missing anywhere that I could put them. I'm gonna apply that idea, and I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna apply it in a way to not use that here and there. I do have to do something to make sure it's all the way down here before I do that. Well, I guess that doesn't work. I don't see anywhere else I can go that blocks with only 3 mirrors, though. I just need to take a different route. That suffices to get him killed. But that's not really good. I don't actually know how to prevent this guy from getting killed anyway. There's no way to close this from inside. And I can't close anything else around here without more than 3 mirrors. This spot. No, there's no way I can get in the right position to do that. I just don't see anywhere else that I can use only 3 mirrors for besides the top left and the bottom right. which works. The bottom right, I have to lose a mirror, in which case I don't gain one, so then I'm stuck after that. Is there somewhere else I can use only 3 mirrors to block the throw or the eye in? Because I don't see anywhere else. The entire rest of the room requires 4 mirrors, besides the top left and the bottom right. I don't know which before to me, but okay. Yeah, so if I do this, there's no way to get back the southmost mirror. I basically go from having 3 mirrors to having 3 mirrors again. And if I need a 4th mirror to be able to get this guy to not die, then I don't have one. Sure seems like I'm supposed to have 4 mirrors by this point. That doesn't work. I can't get this one back. This doesn't work because there's no way to get the eye to go to that guy while I'm all the way in the northwest. I tried that, it didn't work. this is as far, this is as close to that guy as I can put this eye. And this is as fast as I can possibly go up here. And doing that has the eye still coming towards me, not him. There's nothing really I can do to improve that. Make it run after that guy, which is the wrong one. That's not very helpful. Alright, I guess. I think I know what to do from here. Possibly. I can't get far enough away like this. But I need to be close for him to not die. So. Apparently that's not fast enough. I don't really know how I could be any faster. Okay. Try a different area. There we go. That works. I mean, I guess who's boxed in is a matter of perspective, isn't it? Anyway. we go. Whew, alright. How much is left? Here's the level exit blue room. And south, requiring completing this room. There's 2 more rooms at least. Looks like we have a gentry eye there. Yeah, so 3 more rooms. Well, because I took a very long time on a couple of things, I feel like I really should quit at this point. There's not a room in this hole, is there? It's just a place that stalwarts and soldiers come from, isn't it? I can't imagine. Because, yeah, if there was a room in that hole, you could come out of that room yourself to solve this room, instead of actually solving this room. So there must not be a room in that hole. That would be, usually they want to avoid... Usually there's a goal of avoiding rooms breaking other rooms like that. Okay. It is... I'm very hungry for supper already, so I think I'm going to call it there. There's just 3 rooms left, not counting this secret room I didn't look back at today. But that one I may want to hold off till later anyway. So, we didn't really finish this level, but we made progress, I guess. I cheated at one point, at least, but... That room, I feel like I should cheat on it at some level. Anyway, thank you for watching. I am not sure about next Saturday. I may be able to stream. I'll post something to the thread once I'm a little more certain about it. Anyway, they only made one of me, and I'm all out.